Forgot everything except the way we fit together, like we'd been made for this. In the quiet moments between, she traced the lines of my face with trembling fingers. I've never felt this safe with anyone, she confessed, and it terrifies me. I held her tighter. Then don't run this time. But the universe had other plans. At 2:17 a.m., the doorbell rang. Elena shot upright, clutching the sheet to her chest. Panic flooded her eyes. It's him. I pulled on sweatpants, jaw clenched. Stay here. Marcus was taller than I expected, polished, furious. He looked past me the moment I opened the door and saw Elena's coat on the hook. Where is she? He demanded. Elena appeared behind me, wrapped in my robe. The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus's eyes flicked between us, taking in her messy hair, swollen lips, the guilt written across her face. So this is why you've been distant. His voice broke. After everything I gave up for you, Elena stepped forward, tears streaming. Marcus, I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt you. But I'm in love with Alex. Marcus laughed bitterly, pulling something from his paqueta, small velvet box. Then maybe you should see this before you throw it all away. He opened it. Inside wasn't an engagement ring. It was an ultrasound photo, dated 3 weeks ago. The world tilted. Elena stared at the photo, color draining from her face. That's not possible. Marcus's eyes were wet. You were on birth control. I know, but miracles happen. The doctor confirmed it yesterday. I was coming to surprise you with the news. My stomach dropped. Elena looked at me, shattered. Alex, I didn't know. I swear on my life. The three of us stood there in the wreckage of everything. Marcus, the betrayed fiancé. Elena, caught between two worlds. Me, the man who'd just had the best and worst night of his life. Soft piano returns. Rain gentler now. I wanted to rage. I wanted to beg. Instead, I did the hardest thing I've ever done. I stepped back. This is your decision, Elena, not mine. Not his. Yours. She looked at Marcus, then at me. The woman who lived like the wind suddenly looked anchored, torn between duty and desire. Hours passed in painful conversations. Marcus left at dawn, giving her space but making it clear he wanted to raise the child together. I sat on the balcony with Elena as the sun rose over the rain-soaked city, her head on my shoulder. I'm scared, she whispered, of being a mother, of losing myself, of hurting you. I kissed her temple. You don't have to choose between your dreams and this baby. And you don't have to choose between me and doing the right thing. But if you choose me, I'm all in. All three of us. She cried then. Big, healing sobs that shook her whole body. I held her through it. Alex, she said quietly, tracing the rim of her glass. This has been perfect. But tomorrow, I'm gone. You know that, right? I set my wine down and moved closer. I know what you said. But I also know how you look at me when you think I'm not watching. Her breath hitched. Those deep hazel eyes searched mine. The air grew thick. I reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, letting my fingers linger on her cheek. She leaned into the touch for a heartbeat, then pulled back. I can't give you what you want, she whispered. My life is on the road. Yours is here, building empires. Stay the night, I said, not a question. A plea wrapped in certainty. She stood up suddenly, grabbing her coat. I can't stay. That's when I crossed the room. That's when I pulled her close. Tense silence, rain pouring. Her body melted against mine for one perfect moment, lips inches apart, her hands fisting my shirt. Then her phone buzzed. I saw the screen before she could hide it. Marcus calling, the man she'd never fully explained. The one she said was complicated. Elena's face went pale. She stepped back like I'd burned her. I have to take this. I watched her walk to the balcony door, heart hammering. When she returned 5 minutes later, her eyes were red. Alex, there's something I haven't told you. She took a shaky breath. Marcus isn't just someone from my past. He is my fiancé, and he's on his way here right now. Sharp music sting. Thunder crash. The words hung between us like shattered glass. Fiancé, the woman I'd fallen hopelessly in love with, was engaged to another man. I stepped back, chest tight. You're joking. Elena shook her head, tears spilling over. I was going to end it before Patagonia, I swear. But he found out about us somehow. He's flying in tonight. Jealousy burned through me, hot and ugly. I wanted to punch something. Instead, I pulled her back into my arms because letting go felt impossible. Soft strings, emotional swell, tell me everything, I said against her hair. She did. Marcus had been her college sweetheart. Stable, successful, the kind of man who checked every box her traditional family wanted. They'd gotten engaged during a weak moment when she was exhausted from traveling. But the spark had died long ago. You were never supposed to happen, she whispered, looking up at me. You were supposed to be a fling, a beautiful memory, but you became everything our foreheads touched. The rain kept falling. I could feel her heartbeat racing against my chest. I kissed her then. Not gentle, desperate, hungry. She kissed me back like a woman drowning, and I was air. Her hands slid under my shirt, nails grazing my skin. Mine tangled in her hair. We stumbled toward the bedroom, shedding doubts with every step. Clothes whispered to the floor. Skin met skin. For hours, we forgot the world outside, forgot Marcus, forgot tomorrow. She whispered, "I can't stay." But I pulled her close anyway. The city lights blurred through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse, as rain hammered against the glass like 1,000 desperate heartbeats. She stood by the door, coat half-in, eyes shining with tears she refused to let fall. "I can't stay," she whispered, voice cracking. "If I do, everything changes." I crossed the room in 3 strides, my hand catching hers before she could turn the knob. Her fingers trembled in mine. Thunder rolled outside as I pulled her against my chest, feeling her heart slam against mine. "Then let it change," I said, voice low and rough. For one suspended second, her lips parted, breath mingling with mine. Then her phone lit up on the table behind her, a name flashing that made my blood run cold. His fiancée. She froze. I didn't. And in that moment, I knew we were already past a point of no return. Soft piano swells. Rain intensifies. Heartbeat sound. The first time I met Elena Voss was in a crowded Manhattan coffee shop during a snowstorm 2 months earlier. She was arguing with the barista about oat milk while snowflakes melted in her dark wavy hair. I was the architect who just lost a major project, nursing a black coffee and a bruised ego. When our eyes met across the counter, something electric passed between us. She smiled, half apologetic, half challenging, and suddenly, my terrible day didn't feel so terrible. We started talking. Then we never really stopped. Elena was a travel photographer who lived like the wind, always one flight away from her next adventure. I was Alex Rivera, the guy who designed buildings meant to last lifetimes. We were opposites in every way, yet every stolen hour together felt like coming home. Tonight was supposed to be our last night before she left for a 6-month assignment in Patagonia. She'd made it clear from the beginning, no commitments, no promises. Her career came first, always. We'd spent the evening cooking pasta in my kitchen, laughing over spilled wine, dancing badly to old jazz records. Every brush of her hand against mine sent sparks up my arm. When she laughed, head tilted back, I had to stop myself from kissing her right there. After dinner, we moved to the living room. The rain had started then, turning the city into a glittering watercolor outside. She curled up on the couch in one of my hoodies, legs tucked under her, looking impossibly small and beautiful. 2 weeks later, Elena still went to Patagonia, but only for 3 weeks instead of 6. She needed time to think, to photograph, to breathe. I flew down on the 3rd weekend. She met me at the edge of a turquoise lake, surrounded by jagged mountains. Wind whipped her hair. She looked radiant, hand resting protectively on her still flat stomach. "I told Marcus I can't marry him," she said as I walked toward her, "but I want him in our child's life, and I want you in mine." In ours, I dropped to one knee right there on the rocky shore, pulling out the ring I'd carried for weeks. Not because I planned to propose this soon, but because some moments you can't wait for. Elena Voss, stay with me. Not just tonight, not for 6 months, forever. Let's build something beautiful, chaotic, and imperfect, and ours. She laughed, through happy tears, pulling me up into a kiss that tasted like mountain air and new beginnings. "Yes," she whispered against my lips. "I'm not running anymore." We flew home together. Marcus and I eventually sat down. Like adults, there were tense moments, but also understanding. The baby, a girl we named Sophia, arrived 7 months later, with her mother's eyes and my stubborn chin. Elena still travels for work, but never for long. I still design buildings that last lifetimes, and every night when she comes home, no matter how late, I pull her close and remind her, some stories aren't meant to end. They're meant to begin again, every single day. Soft music fades. Warm narration. Elena once whispered she couldn't stay. I'm endlessly grateful she did. The end. If you love emotional romance stories with suspense, this one is for you. Like, if you felt the chemistry, subscribe. For more addictive romantic stories every week, comment below. Would you have pulled her close to